of the most important things to do is to prep your kitchen. Your sinks will need to be nice and clean. Okay, so our juice today is going to be an orange medley with carrots. These are California organic carrots, so they're actually a higher grade of organic than just your standard USDA organic. 1 single orange bell pepper, a whole bunch of oranges, and normally I would like to put ginger root in, but they didn't have any at the grocery store. So I'm working with turmeric root, which I've never juiced before. We'll see how this goes. It's kind of an adventure. With ginger root, I would normally just leave the skin on the peel. It's fine for juicing. This one has like some dirty spots on it, so I'll probably just clean it up a little bit. So I'll just talk to you while I'm prepping my vegetables. Usually I would do this workshop in person. I've never done it in a video before, so it's a little different for me, but I'll just kind of walk you through it while I'm prepping vegetables. This is what we use in our house for collecting compost before we take it out. It's just an old empty coffee can. We put our fruit and vegetable discards in here, and then we can put a lid on it. Those of you who live in northern Michigan, you know that it is fruit fly season, so being able to cover that up really helps. And here's a little trick that Scott taught us. You can put a paper bag in the freezer. We have a freezer in the garage, and we put a paper grocery bag in it, and then each night whoever does the dishes dumps this into that bag in the freezer, and when it gets full we take it out to the compost, and that way we don't have to hike out to the compost bin every day. And if you're a gardener, you know the value of compost. So juicing, I'm just starting with a very friendly juice today that has lots of fruit in it, so it will be very sweet. And that's what I recommend if you're new to juicing, is starting with something a little fruitier. It will feel a little more friendly to you. Now I've got these organic carrots, and I did soak them in water for a couple of hours just to make sure that they're nice and hydrated and crisp. And they're very natural. As you can see, they've got a little bit of dirt in their creases. I don't peel them because there's so much nutrition in the carrot peel, and because they're organic. And when you put it through the hopper, through the juicer, it separates the fiber from the juice anyway. So all of that will be removed. But if you feel very sensitive about dirt, feel free to peel your carrots. I don't mind a little dirt because it has immune boosters in it and probiotics. That's nature's natural original probiotic, was actually taking things out of the earth and eating them raw, and then the probiotics are just naturally there. That's the beneficial flora in our gut. So I'm just cutting off the very ends of these so that my juice doesn't taste too earthy. I like it a little bit earthy. When I juice beets, I do peel the beets because otherwise your juice really can taste like dirt, and it's a little too much for me, so I do have a line there. But I don't usually do a juice like this that's a little bit sweeter, a little more fruity and sugary. Usually I do it with more vegetables like celery, lots of greens. I juice a lot of greens, bell peppers, cucumbers, things like that. But today we're going with something a little more friendly to the newbie, because lots of people like orange juice. That's a pretty common juice, and if you've ever had freshly squeezed orange juice, you know that it's an entirely different experience than that pulpy stuff that you get from the grocery store that is just kind of like smashed, sometimes tastes like smashed rotten oranges to me. But the fresh stuff is not nearly as thick, and just tastes completely different. So I'm just cutting my pepper up into a size that will fit into the hopper when we go to juice. And then for the turmeric, I'm just going to peel off some of these parts of it that look a little grungy. I'm not going to peel it all. So look at how bright orange that is. Turmeric is really good for, it's an anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, just an overall immune system support. So is ginger, which is why I really like the juice with ginger, but ginger is also just so tasty. It gives the juice just a little extra zip and zing, and it's so good. Now, if you want to hand peel all of your oranges, you certainly can. I just use a knife. I cut off each end, and then I put it on its end like this, and I just sort of peel all the way around it. There might be some of the white pithy stuff still on there when I'm done, but it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. And the thing about juicing with the twin gear is that, and I believe the centrifugal juicers are like this too. If you have something that's too liquid like this, it can back the system up. You have to have something with a little more fiber to it, like a carrot. The carrot will push through the juicier flesh of an orange. So when I start juicing, I'll show you that I'll be alternating orange and carrot and the other stuff too. So what's the difference between making juice, fresh juice, or a smoothie? That's one of the common questions that I get. And I do drink smoothies also. I kind of tend to alternate the two in my life. I'll go through a smoothie stage and then a juice stage. The difference on the outset is that a smoothie, when you make a smoothie, you put in the whole fruit or veggie, all the fiber as well, and it all just gets ground up, and then you ingest all of it. It's more filling, it takes longer to digest, and it has the benefit of having the fiber in it as well, which of course is really good for your digestive system. Juicing, however, is considered a little more therapeutic or medicinal. The fibers are removed as you're juicing it, and you're just drinking the pure juice, which means you can ingest the juice of many, many more fruits and vegetables. And what you're getting is the vital nutrients from that produce. Vital living nutrients. Now that's important, that it's living food. It's not cooked, it's not preserved, it's not processed, it's still alive. And what I mean by that is that the enzymes in it are still alive, still doing their functions in a living organism. And when you ingest those enzymes, you ingest the energy of them, essentially, the benefits. There are many benefits to living enzymes in foods. So you're getting far more of those enzymes, those living nutrients in juice, because you're drinking a far greater quantity. Another benefit is that it goes through your digestive system much faster than a smoothie. So that might be a benefit, or it might not. If you want to replace a meal, I would do it with a smoothie. If you want to drink something for the nutrient benefits, I would drink juice. It's best to drink juice on an empty stomach because your body will soak up the living enzymes and nutrients faster and put them to work faster, rather than if you drink it with food or on a full stomach. It won't get digested as fast. It will sit there in your gut and ferment. So some of the things that I juice, as I was saying, beets, celery, cucumbers, greens, lots of greens, Lots of herbs. Fresh parsley is a staple for me. I juice a lot of parsley. Apples, I like green apples. They're not too sweet. They add a little bit of tartness to your juice. If you drink super sweet juice like sweet apples, sweet red apples, and beets and carrots and lots of citrus, it's going to be higher calorie, of course. It has more fruit sugars in it. The juices that are lower in calorie are the greener ones, like celery, cucumber, greens, parsley, things like that. So I tend to mix them. There are periods of time when I just drink fresh green juice. And there are a lot of really good books out there on juicing now. When I first started 2 or 3 decades ago, there wasn't a whole lot out there. There were just a couple of resources really, and I learned about it from a friend who knew a lot about it. But now there are so many resources to learn about it. So I would recommend that you go out and explore the nutritional benefits of different fruits and vegetables, and also the things that you got to be careful of. I remember years ago when our daughter had major surgery and my kids have been drinking fresh juice since they were toddlers. I would water it down and put it in their sippy cup, and they loved it. But when Madeline was going to have major surgery, we stopped giving her greens. We stopped giving her fresh juice from greens sometime before her surgery, because it is a natural anticoagulant, which is really good if you are trying to fight heart disease and prevent clogged arteries, but not so great if you're healing from surgery. You want your blood to be able to do its healing process. So, just various things like that to be careful of. If you have blood sugar issues that are not under control, to be careful of the juices that are high in sugar. Great blood builders. Beets and carrots are both really good for building blood, building healthy blood. And so just various things like that. I did a lot of reading on all the different fruits and vegetables to learn about their nutritional characteristics and benefits. And I kind of nerd out on that stuff. I find it really interesting. So I'm almost done here. I've got a couple more oranges I'm working on. I'm putting a lot of oranges in this one. And it's really fun just to see all the different colors. If you saw my post on our group page, you saw that bright green juice. That would have been one of my probably green apple, parsley, celery, cucumber juices or something like that. Sometimes I'll juice beet greens. Swiss chard is really good. And spinach, you can juice spinach. But there are so many other greens out there. Sometimes spinach is the only one people think of. And there's a whole world of greens to explore. So let's see how it goes with turmeric. One thing I love to put in my morning coffee, and we just often mix it right into the coffee grounds and then brew it with it in the coffee grounds, is some cinnamon, a little ground ginger, ground dried ginger, and ground dried turmeric. And that spice blend is really good and really good for you. Okay, looks like we're pretty good. These carrots are not too thick. They're pretty thin carrots, so I can just put them right through the hopper. Sometimes I'll get really big, thick carrots and I've got to slice them in half or even in quarters the long way because they're too thick to fit in. Here's my juicer. I've had this a long time and it's a wonderful machine. Really, really good machine. The beauty of the twin gear juicer is that you can make a whole lot of juice in one juicing and keep it in the refrigerator for 3 to 5 days and drink it. If you have a centrifugal juicer, it will aerate the juice as it spins it, and that aerating of the juice makes it go bad faster. So you have to, if you have one of those juicers that spins like the spin cycle, you really have to drink that within 24 to 48 hours, or it will start to lose its beneficial enzymes and its nutritional value, and eventually it will start to go bad. So I've got, this will catch the juice, this little carafe under here, and then I'm going to put another one on the end to catch the fiber as it comes out. And here we go. It's a little bit loud, but it's kind of fun. The kids always loved doing this when they were little. I've got a stool back here. I stand on a stool because, as you know, I'm a little bit short. So if I stand up on the stool, I've got some good leverage for juicing. So here we go. That is the sound of the juicer chewing on a carrot. It grinds it up. The juice goes into the little juice container, and there's an orange. A whole lot more juice in that one. Little piece of pepper. Don't be afraid, it's just one bell pepper, you'll be okay. And let's put some turmeric root in and see how that looks. Oh, that gives some really good juice. Now my juicer usually starts to squeak about now. I don't know if that's just because it's old. It's complaining about all the work it's done over the years. But now you can see this fiber coming out of the end. This is really dry. We've tried to do different things with this, like make bread or soup, and it's just not that good. So we compost it. When we had chickens, we used to feed it to the chickens. They loved it. I can already smell it. It smells really good. If you're not used to doing this, if this is new for you, it's going to feel really new for you. It's not going to smell great. It's not going to taste great because you're not used to it. And especially depending on what your life usually looks like. You know, if you're used to eating a lot of cooked, processed foods that are super salty and no longer taste like the plants that they came from, then this is going to taste weird to you. There's no way around it. But you've got to just believe that it's the right thing and do it because it's really good for you, and then you'll get used to it, and then it will taste really good. And then the good news is Taco Bell will no longer appeal to you. I'm picking on Taco Bell. Okay, so my pitcher is pretty full. And then I've got this bigger pitcher that I pour it into so that I can mix all of the batches together. Otherwise I'll end up with all the turmeric in one batch. It's time consuming, yes. And it's not cheap either. It's really got to be worth it to you. The nice thing about this type of juicer is that I can juice up a big batch and have it for days. That way I don't have to pull the juicer out, do my juicing 3 or 4 times a week, pull it all apart and clean it, all that stuff. It's just a one-time thing. It'll last us for a week. I can really notice the difference when I drink fresh juice in the way I feel and the way I look, my energy level, my digestive system, the foods that I crave. I will crave much healthier foods. Your hair will grow faster. Your hair and your nails will grow faster and be thicker and healthier. Your nails will be stronger. The hair will be thicker. If you like to have thick hair that grows fast, then that's good news. But keep in mind that there's hair all over your body and it will all grow faster. So body hair management will be a little more involved. But that's just part of good health. When your body's in good health, your hair and your nails will grow faster and stronger. So Terry asked about intermittent fasting. And that's it. You know, we've given it that name, intermittent fasting, as a sort of, you know, I don't know, maybe like a cleansing procedure, or some people probably use it for dieting, for losing weight. Really, it's a lifestyle method in the East, and it isn't really referred to as intermittent fasting. It's just a way of eating, basically. And the concept is not to be skinny. The concept really is for optimal health. And the reason behind it is to give your gut a rest every single day. Because, and especially when you go to bed at night, going to bed with an empty stomach. And the reason for that is that when your digestive system is empty, your stomach is empty and not digesting food at night while you're sleeping, then your digestive organs do other functions for cleaning house, basically. The organs that digest your food have another job to do, which is housekeeping. And they can't do that job if they're digesting food at midnight. And so the concept behind it is that you stop eating hours before you go to bed. Optimally, at least 4 hours. So if you go to bed at 9, you have to stop eating at 5. If you go to bed at 11, you do the math. It's not, it takes some planning ahead. It's not an easy thing to do if you're used to eating until you go to bed. And again, you'll just have to practice it until it becomes easier. Optimally, you are getting at least 12 hours of what we would call fasting, not eating, every day. Or even more like 15 hours or 16 hours. If you can manage your food intake in such a way that you can eat between 8 and 10 hours each day, then your gut will have a rest of a certain period of time every day, and you'll have optimal health. So that's the idea behind that. Now, if you're drinking juice on an empty stomach, on an empty digestive system, it goes through rather quickly, and you absorb the nutrients rather quickly, like I was talking about before. It also depends on what you're eating, what your eating habits are throughout the day. So if you get up in the morning and let's say you eat a bowl of cereal, which is a lot of carbs and possibly a lot of sugar, depending on what kind of cereal you're eating, your body will, oopsies, uh-oh, here I am talking and not paying attention. Do not do this. Just wanted to demonstrate to you what not to do. Don't start talking and stop paying attention and spill juice all over the counter. So let's say you get up in the morning and you eat a big bowl of cereal and you get your sugar spike. And it's pretty easy for your body to digest it. So within an hour or two, it's gone through its digestive process in your stomach, and the sugar spike causes you to have a spike in your hunger, if you get hungry. And then you really want to eat again an hour or two later. And not only do you want to eat, but you're craving sugary foods, high carb foods, and maybe foods that aren't that great for you, processed foods, quick foods. And then for dinner you have a big meal of things that aren't as easy to digest, like meat, a lot of complex foods that take longer to digest, and you go to bed with that in your digestive system, and your digestive system has to work on it all night long. If you think about this concept, it really should be the other way around, right? You eat earlier in the day the proteins, the foods that take longer to digest, and then you eat later in the day things like juice or salad, fruit, things that are more easily digested, so they go through more quickly, and you go to bed with an empty stomach. If you're not used to going to bed with an empty stomach, it won't be easy at first. It might feel awkward and not okay to go to bed hungry. There might be some psychological stuff you've got to work through a little bit, but it really is good for you. It's better for you to do so. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is drink a quart of water. Because if you've gone to bed with an empty stomach and your body has done all of that cleaning, those organs have cleaned themselves and cleaned your blood and done this major housekeeping, detoxing process in your body, you wake up in the morning, you drink a whole lot of water to flush it through, basically. It's like finally taking out the trash. You know, you've swept everything up into nice, neat little piles, and now we're gonna go ahead and take it out instead of leaving it in the house. And that's what that water does first thing in the morning. It's just like a final flush through of everything. And then usually hours later, I take my first bite of food. I like to exercise on an empty digestive system as well, and certainly yoga suggests that, the teachings of yoga suggest that you do your practice with an empty digestive system. And again, if you're not used to it, it will feel uncomfortable. You might just have half a banana or something to put in your stomach before you go to the yoga mat until you get used to it. And as far as drinking the water when you first rise, you might have to start with one cup of water, and then 2 cups, and then 3 cups, because it'll make you a little nauseous at first, just because your stomach isn't used to it. So here is our beautiful juice, minus the little bit that I let overflow onto the counter. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, it's so pretty. It's just glowing. I'm gonna get a cup right now. Cheers. Wow, it's really good. I really like the turmeric. It's got kind of like a little bit of a nutty flavor, a little bit of a, yeah, it's like a little nutty. It doesn't have the zing that the ginger has, but it's really good. So here's what I do with the leftovers. I put it in a mason jar and seal it up tight. 3 things will destroy the living enzymes in your juice: air, exposure to oxygen, light, and heat. So I put it in the jar, seal it up, put it right into the refrigerator where it's cold and dark and it's not exposed to air. And then it'll last 4 or 5 days. You guys can drink a little bit each day like we do. Drink your vegetables. It's good for you. Try it. 1 bell pepper for those of you who live in fear of veggies. It's just 1 sweet little pepper. Won't do anybody any harm.